We have an incredibly immersive session ahead for you today. We possess the complete text of Chapter 9 from the story The Wraith.
Which is just a massive high-stakes double-date scene.
It is, and we're going to read it live and break it down in real time.
We're going to examine the sheer psychological density of every micro-expression, every single touch, and every spoken word.
Because in this specific story, nothing is ever just a simple date. The core mechanism we're deconstructing today is the anatomy of a blind leap.
Right, like what actually happens to a person's psychology when they take the ultimate leap of faith with someone who is secretly harboring a lethal truth. To Rachel, Finn is her absolute savior. He is the white knight who rushed in to protect her from the darkness of the city.
While internally, Finn is being crushed under the agonizing weight of his own deception, he is staring at a woman who looks at him with pure adoration, knowing full well he is a liar and a killer.
Which takes us right to the edge of the cliff, Chapter 9. The double date. Let's get into the text.
I'm just saying, Santana said, swinging her ponytail as she stared up at the climbing wall. You know, if I wanted to climb walls, I could have just stayed home and let the Barber twins sing me the entire Funny Girl soundtrack on a continuous loop all night.
Quit bitching, Lopez, Puck grinned, already chalking his hands. At least you're getting your cardio. And imagine the strengthening workout for your claws.
I can think of way better ways to get my cardio and claw strengthening workouts in. Ways that don't involve potentially falling from 50 feet and breaking my neck.
Yeah. Show me later after you make this wall your bitch. Now move your sexy ass in, Dale. Puck laughed, smacking Santana's ass.
Rachel crossed her arms and looked at Finn with a half smile that was half warning. You told me this was a fun surprise.
It is fun, he said, unbothered, tightening his harness. Climbing's therapeutic, builds trust.
Trust, Santana snorted. Yeah, I totally trust that bald-headed idiot is going to check out my ass the whole time and get us both killed.
Well, it's a great ass, Puck smirked, shrugging. There are worse ways to go.
It is, San agreed, with narrowed eyes shooting daggers at Puck. But it won't be anymore if it gets broken today.
That's the spirit, Lopez. Use the rage. Rage makes you light.
Okay, the dynamic established in these opening lines is just absolutely brilliant. The author uses Puck and Santana as a masterclass in misdirection.
They really do. They provide a loud, crass, highly flirtatious camouflage for the terrifying reality of what is actually happening.
Exactly. Puck smacking her, Santana threatening him, the banter about cardio and claws. It perfectly mimics the low-stakes, rowdy energy of a standard 20-something double date.
It creates a false sense of security for the reader and for Rachel.
Yeah.
But look at the stark contrast in how Finn and Rachel interact right next to that noise.
Right. Rachel is skeptical. She says, you told me this was a fun surprise.
And Finn, completely deadpan, tightening a safety harness, says, climbing's therapeutic. Builds trust.
Which we know is a deeply loaded statement. Let's really look at this tactical dating strategy. He's taken her to shoot firearms. He's taken her to throw heavy blades at wooden targets.
And now he brings her to a massive indoor climbing wall.
Why? What is the specific tactical advantage of a 60-foot rock wall for a civilian target?
From a military or Black Ops perspective, Finn is teaching her vertical evasion and grip endurance.
Because horizontal running isn't enough.
Exactly. If a hit squad breaches her apartment building or corners her in a multi-level structure, horizontal running will only get a civilian so far before they are outmaneuvered.
He is forcing her brain to recognize verticality as an escape route.
He's teaching her how to support her own body weight, how to find holds under extreme duress, and how to maintain gross motor function when her heart rate spikes.
It's incredible. He is operating like a CIA handler, subtly rewiring an intelligence asset's physical reflexes.
But Rachel just thinks her incredibly fit boyfriend is really into extreme sports.
She thinks they are just building relationship trust, while he is literally trying to build her odds of surviving an assassination attempt.
Let's see how this covert training manifests when she actually gets on the wall.
Rachel giggled at her friends, but it faded as she looked up at the 60-foot rock wall. She considered calling this off for a few seconds, but she adjusted her harness anyway. For the record, I'm only doing this because I love a challenge.
Yeah. Finn smiled. Then you're going to love me after this.
She arched an eyebrow. Love's a strong word, Hudson. I don't throw it around lightly.
Neither do I, he winked, and Puck made a gagging sound.
Rachel made it about 15 feet up the wall before her confidence met gravity. This is fine, she said through gritted teeth, clinging to a bright pink handhold. Totally fine. I'm not terrified. Just resting. Anyway, it's the effort that counts, right?
Resting. Santana called from the next lane over, already halfway to the top. Girl, your death grip's cutting off circulation to that fake manicure.
It's gel polish.
Rachel yelled back.
Finn spotted for her from the ground, smiling up like she was the only person in the building. You're doing great, Wretch. Just trust your legs. Push up from your core.
Maybe Barry needs you to help her with core training too, Huddy, Puck called down from about 40 feet up.
Rachel's eyes narrowed on Puck. Shut it, Puckerman. She looked over her shoulder at Finn, and he threw her a thumbs up.
You got this, he said with a grin. You took out 2 bad guys in a dark alley. You gonna let some stupid fucking wall beat you now?
That lit a fire in her.
Hell no. She yelled like a battle cry. She shifted her weight, stretching higher, when she reached the top, and Puck pulled her onto the platform overlooking the massive indoor gym. She high-fived Santana, and Puck then did a little victory dance.
Below them, Finn was throwing fist pumps in the air, laughing and calling out to her.
That's my badass girl.
She looked down at him with a beaming smile, taking in his beautiful face, his focus on her, the pride in his eyes.
Something warm and fluttery bloomed in her chest. It was exhilarating the way she felt just then, and she couldn't say if it was the adrenaline rush of the climb and the view from the top, or if it was just him.
One thing she knew, though, she didn't need this exercise to learn to trust him to catch her. She already knew he would.
Wow. The thematic density of that sequence is staggering when you view it through the lens of trauma psychology.
It really is. Rachel is 15 feet up the wall, and she completely freezes. She is terrified, masking her panic with excuses about resting.
And Puck, playing his role as the abrasive instigator, mocks her core strength. But look at Finn's intervention.
Right, a normal boyfriend, seeing his partner terrified and frozen on a wall, would try to de-escalate.
Exactly. He would say, it's totally fine, you did great, come on down. He would coddle the fear.
Finn doesn't do that. Instead, he drops a psychological bomb. He says, you took out 2 bad guys in a dark alley. You gonna let some stupid fucking wall beat you now?
He deliberately triggers the memory of her most profound recent trauma.
A brutal assault in a dark alley.
Right, while she is actively experiencing a panic response on the wall. From a civilian standpoint, that sounds incredibly callous.
But from a combat perspective, it's a brilliant cognitive reframing technique.
Exactly. When someone experiences a traumatic event, the brain often hardwires that memory to a feeling of utter helplessness and victimization.
The neural pathways of trauma want you to freeze or flee.
But Finn takes that exact memory, rips away the context of victimization, and forcefully recontextualizes it as a victory.
He reminds her that she didn't just survive the alley, she actively fought back.
He is teaching her how to access the adrenaline of her own trauma and weaponize it. He is guiding her through the neurological shift from a passive prey response to an active predator response.
The text literally says it lit a fire in her and she yelled like a battle cry. He successfully overwrote her panic with aggression.
He taught her how to survive his world, using her own history as the fuel.
And it works flawlessly. She gets to the top, does a victory dance, and looks down at him. But this is where the dramatic irony just guts the reader.
Oh, it's brutal. She feels this exhilarating rush, this blooming warmth, and she has this profound internal realization.
She thinks she didn't need this exercise to learn to trust him to catch her. She already knew he would.
It is a devastating paragraph because you, as the listener, know the horrifying totality of the truth. Yes, Finn will catch her.
Finn would throw himself in front of a moving train to catch her.
But Finn is also the architect of the danger. He is the reason she's in the crosshairs to begin with.
Her blind trust is beautiful, but it is built over a sinkhole. She feels completely unconditionally secure in his hands, completely unaware that those exact hands were paid to execute her.
She is trusting the very mechanism of her potential destruction.
And that specific flavor of blind faith is the perfect transition into the next phase of the date, where the literal physical danger escalates to match the unseen emotional danger.
They leave the gym and head to a decommissioned railroad bridge over a massive ravine.
You're fucking crazy. Forget it.
Santana stood on the decommissioned railroad bridge, looking into the nearly 200-foot deep ravine, arms folded, head shaking in defiance.
Santa, it's safe, right? People do this all the time, and look, the guys wouldn't have brought us here if they thought we'd get hurt. Right, Finn?
It's absolutely safe, Finn confirmed. Me and the guys have done this like a zillion times, and we're still here.
Porque estés todos locos. One of you jumped out of airplanes for a living, right? Which is also crazy. She spun back to Rachel and pointed a manicured nail in her face. And you're talking about the same guy who took you axe throwing into a murder cabin?
Not bilingual and wasn't a murder cabin, Finn muttered.
Puck laughed. You being a chicken shit, Tana. Come on, I thought you had bigger balls than me.
I do. They're on my chest, though, and I'm not risking them getting deflated, thank you very much. Mi precioso culo no está saltando. Bungee jumping. No.
Being Spider-Woman on a wall was one thing, but I draw the line at being thrown off a bridge on a rubber band. This body is far too hot to risk on something this insane, and Rachel Barberberry, I can't believe you're even considering doing this. What are you even thinking? No me gusta.
Rachel stood at the edge, staring down at the river below.
I suddenly regret every decision that led me here. Maybe Sandy has a point. I mean, I haven't even won my first Tony yet.
Finn chuckled, standing close behind her as the instructor secured her straps. Hey, Rach, you don't have to jump if you don't want to. I already know you're a badass.
I have to say, Santana is the absolute unsung hero of this entire sequence.
Oh, without a doubt.
She spends the majority of the story projecting this impenetrable, aggressive, unimpressed bravado. But put her on a bridge over a 200-foot drop, and she is the only person reacting with appropriate human logic.
She becomes the voice of absolute reason. And the way she lists Finn's resume as proof of his insanity is perfect.
She points out that he jumped out of airplanes for a living, took Rachel axe throwing, and brought her to a murder cabin.
Which, by the way, Finn defending himself by quietly muttering wasn't a murder cabin is one of the funniest, darkest lines in the chapter.
It really is. It highlights the massive discrepancy in their baselines for arousal and fear. You have Finn and Puck, who are former Marine Scout snipers and current Black Ops contractors.
When you spend years in active combat zones, your brain's dopamine and adrenaline baselines are permanently skewed.
A 200-foot bungee jump to them is genuinely just a casual Sunday afternoon activity. It barely registers on their threat matrix.
And contrast against that, you have Rachel, an ambitious, highly driven Broadway performer whose ultimate measure of a life cut short is that she hasn't won her first Tony yet.
The juxtaposition of their existential dread, like surviving an assassination versus missing an award season, is hilarious on the surface.
But it's deeply tragic when you remember that Finn was supposed to be the one ending her Tony dreams permanently.
And that tragedy bleeds right into this next quiet moment between them on the edge of the bridge. This is where Finn makes a subtle, almost imperceptible slip of the mask,
revealing exactly how broken he is inside.
She turned, meeting his eyes, and saw adoration, faith, trust, and something else which she was sure she could put a name on, but maybe this wasn't the moment to mention it.
Okay, yes, she's a little afraid of heights.
Yeah.
Or a lot. And yes, she can practically hear Kurt shrilling, if you jumped off a bridge, would you jump too, in a high F.
But then she thought about that. Finn was jumping, had jumped many times in the past, and she did great today, got over her fear of the rock wall, which felt amazing at the top.
And Finn believed in her. All she had to do was have a little faith in his faith.
And maybe it'd feel just as amazing or better at the bottom of this ravine, assuming she was still connected to this big rope thingy. You're jumping, aren't you? She asked Finn.
Of course, he admitted with a soft smile, straightening her helmet and checking her chin strap.
What does it feel like?
It's a rush. A punch of adrenaline. You've been on a roller coaster before, right?
Yes, though admittedly it's been a long time.
Well, you know that feeling when you're almost at the top of that big hill and the drop is coming? It's like that, only it hits you all at once.
The build-up and the adrenaline burst from the drop, it all happens super fast.
But the fall feels kind of like hitting reset, like the world slows down for those few seconds.
Something flickered across his face when he said it, a hint of a shadow before the charm settled back in. Rachel caught it, but didn't ask questions.
Instead, she reached up, cupped his cheek, and said quietly,
"It sounds incredible, and I want to do it, as long as you jump with me."
The phrase hitting reset is the psychological anchor of this entire chapter. When Rachel asks what the fall feels like, Finn doesn't just describe the physical sensation of gravity.
He accidentally verbalizes his deepest, most desperate psychological craving.
Because to a man carrying the sheer volume of guilt that Finn is carrying, a reset isn't just about clearing your head.
Think about how we use that word. In a video game, when you are losing, when the screen is overwhelmed with enemies and you've made too many fatal mistakes, you hit the reset button.
The screen goes black.
The mistakes are erased. The timeline starts over from a clean slate.
Exactly. Finn is drowning in cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance is the severe mental discomfort a person feels when their beliefs, values, or actions contradict each other.
Finn deeply loves this woman, and yet his entire presence in her life originated from a contract to murder her.
His brain is trying to hold two completely opposing realities at the same time, and it is fracturing him. He desperately wants to reset his timeline.
He wants to erase the dossier, erase Operation Tony Girl, erase Sue Sylvester.
He wants to meet Rachel for the first time as just Finn, the guy who makes great sandwiches, not the Wraith.
But he can't. He cannot erase the past. The gravity of his deception is a constant crushing weight.
So he seeks out these extreme moments of literal freefall, because for the 4 seconds he is plummeting toward the river, gravity is suspended.
For 4 seconds, the world slows down, the noise stalks, and he doesn't have to be the liar or the killer. He can just exist in the void.
It's a profound form of extreme emotional self-medication. And what is equally profound and devastating is Rachel's reaction to that moment.
Right. The narrative tells us that a hint of a shadow flickers across his face when he mentions hitting reset, a tiny micro-expression of his immense internal agony.
And Rachel sees it. Her brain registers the anomaly.
I want you to think about your own relationships right now. Think about a time when you were looking at someone you loved and you saw that exact same shadow.
That fleeting micro-expression that tells you on a primal level that something is deeply, fundamentally wrong.
That a massive secret is sitting just below the surface of their skin. What do we usually do in that moment?
We do exactly what Rachel does. We look away.
We willfully ignore the red flags because the illusion of safety, the warmth of the romantic fantasy we have built around this person is far too intoxicating to disrupt.
Yes. Acknowledging the shadow means asking the hard questions. And asking the hard questions risks destroying the beautiful reality you are currently enjoying.
She doesn't ask questions because she doesn't want to break the spell. She chooses the blind leap instead.
She literally says, I want to do it, as long as you jump with me.
She's choosing to leave into the unknown, trusting that his presence makes it safe, utterly unaware that his presence is the danger, which takes us to the jump itself.
Has perdido la cabeza, Rachel.
She'll be fine. You're the one being a party pooper, Puck said. Tilo, would I steer you wrong? You really think we'd let you do something that'd get you killed?
I hate you all, Santana said in a huff. Especially you, Broadway. It'll be fun, you said. The guys planned a great surprise for us. It'll be an adventure.
She peeked over the edge and sighed, resigning. But if you're really going to do this, no fucking way can I go home and let people think you were braver than me.
Okay, maybe it's crazy. But maybe it's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to feel like I'm flying. And, okay, I'm a little terrified beyond the ability to explain, but I trust Finn.
Finn smiled that half grin with a deep dimple flashing, and her heart stuttered again.
Santana smirked. That's great, Rachel. And I trust gravity.
Hey, you can trust me too, Puck offered. I'll hold your hand and jump with you.
Oh, sure. Great. Then we'd be stuck together in the afterlife. She marched over to Finn. Fine, soldier boy. She trusts you. So I'll trust you, both, I guess. But if I die, you better believe I'm coming back and haunting your ass.
Rachel smiled wide. You can do this, San. If I can do it, I know you can.
Santana grunted, pulling her hair into a bun. Well, at least if we die, I'm dying harder than all of you.
Appreciate the pep talk, Rachel muttered. But nobody is dying. We're flying. She squealed and Puck slapped her a high five.
Puck bounced on his heels beside them, inspecting the harness. This is the fun part. Adrenaline. Heart rate spikes. Survival instinct kicks in. You'll feel alive.
15 minutes later, their instructors had double-checked all their harnesses, talked them through the jump and the snap to expect at the bottom.
Santana gripped Puck's hand so hard he thought she might break it off. However, at the last moment, she insisted she would jump solo because this ravine was going to be her bitch, and she wasn't giving him any credit for her triumph.
After a little more discussion, Finn and Rachel ended up in the pandem jump rigging. She clung to him so tight they may as well have fused together, and that was while they were still on the bridge being tied up in the rigging.
She was as tense and trembling as a cat at a day spa. But then, Finn dipped down and kissed her, deep and slow.
Oh.
You ready for this badass Barry?
She jumped up into his arms, her legs wrapped around his waist, arms locked around his neck, and kissed him again, feeling all the nerves melt away, and nodded once she was sufficiently breathless. Let's do this thing.
He laughed. Count of 3.
She beamed a pearly grin and started the count. 1.
2, Finn said, stealing another kiss and stepping to the edge.
And then they jumped together with her 3, echoing into a silent screech on their way down. Finn's laughter joined her squeal in harmony.
The wind whipped around them like a cyclone and stole Rachel's breath. The free fall lasted only about 4 or 5 seconds, but it was the most amazing, exhilarating few seconds of her life, and she had Finn to thank for it.
When the cord snapped them back, she was still locked around him like a koala bear, knuckles white, both their hearts hammering in sync, and she kissed him again as they dangled upside down.
Rachel grabbed his face in her hands, eyes wide, pupils blown, and yelled, "Oh my God, I can't believe I did that," and laughed herself into tears.
And he laughed right along with her, murmuring in her ear, "I never doubted you for a second. You're totally hardcore, Rachel Berry."
The imagery in this sequence is incredibly vivid. On a purely surface level, the physical choreography of trust here is incredibly romantic.
Oh, absolutely. She jumps into his arms before they even leave the bridge. She wraps her legs around his waist, locking her arms around his neck like a koala bear.
They share this deep, slow kiss to melt her nerves, and he steals one final kiss on the count of 2, right before he pulls them over the edge.
It is a highly cinematic, deeply intimate moment of total physical surrender. It's stunning.
And the sensory details of the fall itself. The silent screech where the air is pulled from her lungs, the cyclone of wind, the feeling of absolute weightless flight.
But
He is trauma bonding her to him.
which honestly leads to a major pushback against Finn's character in this scene. We can romanticize the koala bear hug and the synced heartbeats all we want, but isn't Finn being incredibly, profoundly selfish here?
Oh, absolutely.
He is deepening her attachment to him through chemical manipulation, knowing full well that a massive, devastating emotional crash is coming.
He knows he has to tell her the truth about the dossier.
Right, so by taking her higher and higher into these peaks of synthetic trust, isn't he just guaranteeing that the inevitable fall will destroy her completely?
He is. It is undeniably selfish. He is ensuring maximum collateral damage to her psyche. And the tragedy of his character is that he knows he is doing it.
He is fully aware of his own hypocrisy.
The text explicitly points out that their hearts are hammering in sync when they dangle upside down, but those hearts are hammering for entirely different reasons.
Hers is racing from the thrill of the jump and the rush of pure, unadulterated new love.
And his is racing from the sheer terror of his own deception. He is looking at a woman with wide eyes and blown pupils, laughing in pure joy, knowing he is the bomb ticking under her life.
He is hoarding these final moments of her pure affection like an addict scraping the bottom of a barrel. He knows the withdrawal is going to rip them both apart, but he cannot stop himself from taking one more hit of her trust on this bridge.
When they finally landed, Rachel's hair was wild and her face flushed, but she was smiling like she hadn't smiled in weeks. The mugging, the internet smear campaign, absolutely nothing was getting her down right now.
Finn looked at her and felt the guilt claw at his ribs again, because for one weightless second she'd trusted him completely, and he didn't deserve any of it. But his greed and inability to let her go overruled logic.
He decided it was all worth it to see this smile on her face now, though. Later, at a roadside bar near the bridge, Santana and Puck were locked in a heated argument over pool table rules and which of them would make the sexier stunt person.
Rachel leaned into Finn's side, her chin resting on his bicep as she looked up at him. "Okay," she said softly. "I admit it. Today was incredible."
Yeah. He smirked, pretending to sip his beer like his stomach wasn't still knotted with guilt. They say it's like the best trust exercise there is.
She tilted her head toward him. "So what did you learn?"
He thought about it for a second. About the lies, the weight, the way he wished he could freeze this moment forever before it all came crashing down. Then he said, that falling's not so bad when you've got someone worth falling for and someone you know will catch you.
Rachel smiled, small and sincere, curling herself around his arm and kissing his shoulder. "You're surprisingly poetic for a man who thinks wall climbing and bungee jumping is romantic."
I don't know much about romance. I just know how I feel when you're around.
"How's that?"
The same way I feel when I jump off bridges.
Their eyes locked in a gaze, and she smiled the softest smile that made her eyes twinkle brighter than the dim light of the bar should have allowed. She finally sighed contently and simply said, "Same."
He kissed the top of her head, and she looked up at him, still grinning.
"Well, soldier boy, guns, axes, murder cabin, rock walls, and bungee jumping. Surely we've exhausted the gauntlet of activities that might give me a heart attack, so what's left up your sleeve?" "Blindfolded race car driving."
You barked to laugh. Actually, I hadn't thought of that one. And it's not a bad idea. But how do you feel about parachuting?
She froze, like from an airplane.
He bit his lip, watching the color drain from her face as she processed. Only joking, Rach. We don't have
As
to.
long as it's with you, I think I'll probably try anything.
The environmental transition here is a master stroke of pacing.
It really is. The text explicitly says Finn's stomach is knotted with guilt, and he wishes he could freeze this moment forever before it all came crashing down.
He knows. Chapter 10 is looming. He knows the confession is imminent.
Which brings us to the most devastating piece of dialogue in the entire deep dive. Finn says that falling's not so bad when you've got someone worth falling for and someone you know will catch you.
We have to completely dissect this metaphor because the layers of dramatic irony layered into that single sentence are monumental.
Yes, let's pull it entirely apart. When Rachel hears that line, she processes it through the lens of a beautiful, slightly cheesy romantic comedy.
She thinks they're talking about falling in love. She thinks they're talking about the physical bungee cord catching them at the bottom of the ravine.
Exactly. She hears it as a poetic testament to the safety and security he provides for her.
But Finn is speaking a completely different language. Finn is talking about his impending confession. He is staring at the metaphorical cliff edge of his own lies.
When he says falling's not so bad, he means the fall from grace. He means the total collapse of his carefully constructed facade.
He knows he is about to push their entire relationship off a cliff the moment he tells her about Operation Tony Girl.
And the true desperation of his character is revealed in the second half of that sentence. Someone you know will catch you.
He isn't talking about catching her. He is desperately, quietly pleading to the universe that she will catch him.
He is praying that the love he has painstakingly cultivated in her will be strong enough to act as the emotional bungee cord.
He is hoping that when he pushes them off the cliff of his deception, her capacity for forgiveness will snap them back before they shatter on the rocks below.
It's a plea for absolute mercy, disguised as a romantic sweet nothing. And the tragedy is that Rachel completely misses the subtext.
She curls around his arm, completely secure, and they banter about what terrifying activity they will do next. He jokingly suggests parachuting from an airplane, and she freezes.
But then she delivers a line that serves as the final nail in the coffin of her own safety. She says, "As long as it's with you, I think I'll probably try anything." Thank you so much for joining us on this intense, immersive deep dive today. Keep exploring the subtext, keep reading between the lines, and never stop asking the hard questions about the foundations you stand on. We will catch you next time.